Sean.
Thanks for having me on the show, Jack.
So, Sean, you believe that COVID-19 is a hoax?
No, I don't believe COVID's a hoax. It's the pandemic that is the hoax, Jack.
So, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, Jack, it's not a genuine response to a public health threat. That's just a convenient excuse that's been used to restrict human rights and freedoms.
So, what makes you think that's a hoax, and what made you start thinking like that?
Jack, well, way back in January, there was people were getting infected with COVID-19, and the UK government brought them over on an aeroplane, and they brought them into the UK airport. I think it was Price Norton, somewhere down in England, and they all come off the aeroplane with spacesuits on because they were so infectious. They jumped on a bus, and the bus driver never even had a mask on. That's what made me think something's not right about this.
So, do you actually believe all the politicians of the world are actually all in on this and making a mountain out of a molehill intentionally?
Well, it's hard to tell. A lot of them probably are, but it also probably they're acting based on false information.
So you don't believe there is any threat at all, and we should just go about living our lives as normal?
Jack, I'm not saying that there's no threat at all. But what I'm saying is that the threat is such a small threat that it doesn't justify the lockdowns and restrictions on society. There's many other diseases that represent far more serious and credible threats, yet we don't stop people going about their daily business.
Okay, so if it's a hoax, as you say, then why are people dying?
People die all the time from all sorts of things. The rates of deaths are not any different to normal.
Okay then, what do you think about all the videos of the people on the internet where you see people dropping down dead in streets of like Wuhan in China? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe that was staged. It's no happened over here, has it? And there was bodies lying over there on the streets, and there was body bags outside hospitals. That didn't materialise. I think that was a bit of a fear campaign. When you put people in fear, you control them.
So, do you believe the number of deaths are exaggerated or manipulated in any way?
Absolutely, Jack. Of course they're exaggerated and they're manipulated. The doctors are misdiagnosing COVID on death certificates. Why? I don't know. Let me explain how. On the news programmes every night, it clearly states deaths for any reason within 28 days of a COVID test. So if you're hit by a bus, you drop down dead, you've got cancer, whatever, you're classed as a COVID death within 28 days of a test. That's not on. They're manipulating the figures, they're exaggerating the figures.
So do you believe the infection rates are also manipulated?
Absolutely, 100%. The tests are producing false positives, Jack. For example, the president of Tanzania tested fruits and even a goat sample and gave the samples human names, and when they were tested, they came back as COVID-19 SARS positive. Even the World Health Organization themselves have confirmed that the PCR COVID test is not fit for purpose, as it detects many forms of respiratory problems, including the common cold. Therefore, a positive test result means absolutely nothing, and it should not be used.
Okay then, so how do you explain that all the hospitals all over the world are all full to capacity and struggling to cope?
Hospitals are no under any more pressure than normal. Various videos are going about Facebook and social media showing that hospitals are completely dead. Nurses are doing dance routines on TikTok and Facebook. A Freedom of Information request was sent to 9 Wells Hospital asking for the total deaths from between February 2020 and December 2020 from only COVID. That's not COVID and anything else, but simply COVID. And the result come back that there was 6 deaths in total from February 2020 till December 2020. 6 deaths. These deaths that are on, with these figures are simply manipulated by people having heart attacks and COVID, a flu and COVID, hit with a bus and COVID, cancer and a COVID. You can't count these deaths. The deaths from February to December are 6 deaths, and this is why they're shutting down the world's economy. Seriously.
Okay, so even if there is a small threat, isn't it worthwhile following the rules, such as mask wearing anyway?
Jack, masks don't do anything other than show people that you're scared. If masks work, why do businesses need to close? And if they don't work, why are we being forced to wear them? It's a nonsense. Human breath easily penetrates a cloth mask, so a virus can easily do the same thing. It's not helping anything. If people wear masks in shops but take them off as soon as they walk out that shop, then they're not frightened of a virus. They're frightened of what people think of them. There's no serious threat and no good reason to wear a mask.
Okay, Sean, how do you feel about supermarkets enforcing mask wearing?
Well, that's a good question, Jack. Rules about mask wearing don't come under law, they come under an act. Statutes and act only have the force of law with the consent of the governed. If you don't consent to these rules, the reality is that they're not actually law, but that's a story for another day. But even if you do consider the acts as being the law, the Equality Act of 2010, section 112, protects you from being refused entry to a business on the grounds of discrimination. If you're refused entry for not wearing a mask, and you're asked to disclose the reason for your exemption, that could be classed as discrimination, and that business or person could be fined up to £5,000 and their private capacity under full liability.
And finally, what do you think about the COVID vaccines?
Jack, the vaccine is pointless. It doesn't stop you getting or transmitting the virus, it only reduces the symptoms. Why would I want to inject potentially harmful toxic chemicals into my body when the virus has little to no chance of even harming me in the first place? There's more chance of serious side effects or even death from the vaccine than there is from the virus itself. For example, a 56-year-old doctor, Gregory Michael, died of a reaction to the vaccine shortly after he took it. Some of the known potential side effects for the vaccine include Bell's palsy, which is facial paralysis, anaphylactic shock, infertility, and even an increased risk of HIV and even death. The solution to the problem cannot be worse than the problem itself. The virus is not a serious threat to you or me, and it shouldn't be treated as such. This is a case of politicians playing scientists.
Well, thank you for that, Sean Burns.
Jack, thanks for having me in the studio. Thanks very much.